You're scared of something you already are. Why he take this girl's clothes and throw them outside with the sprinklers on? There's going to be someone's opinion associated with your decision. Sometimes doing nothing is the most productive decision you can make. Sir, we know what you're doing. You is not slick. This is the Ever Airwaves Think podcast, brought to you by Live One Company, where we explore ideas that challenge, comfort, and clarify. I'm Liv, and in every episode, we break down life's complexities with intellect, insight, and a touch of curiosity. All right, we're on air. Why we hesitate to make decisions even when we know the answer. Plain and simple, people are afraid. People are afraid to stand on business and relationships, business and friendships, just business in general. People are afraid of the consequences of their decisions. Again, they already know the answer, but what they're challenged with is the actual consequence of their decision. And that's why people hesitate to make those decisions, because of the outcome, like what the perceived outcome of that decision. For most people, you already have a strong inclination if your significant other is going to accept your decision or stance in the relationship, which typically involves your significant other having to make a change. I really can't think of anyone that's been given an ultimatum that doesn't require a change from them. Can you? Probably not. Most ultimatums, probably every ultimatum requires a change to be made. In most relationships or situationships, which we tend to call them now, we can pretty much predict the response of our husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever may be the case, to the decision you're making in that relationship. If it's an ultimatum, something that requires that other person to make a change, like you already kind of know based upon their behaviors, what their response is going to be. And that kind of is associated and goes right back to the question at hand, why we hesitate to make decisions, even when we know the answer. Again, because we are hesitant and afraid, fearful of what that consequence or that outcome will be. We already have studied the behaviors of that person we're with. And so we already kind of have an inclination, and they've already kind of shown us how they respond to decisions we make or things that we request of them, and especially when change is involved. Quick story on how someone already knew the answer. I remember this girl was invited on a girls' trip I was going on. Yep, we were heading to Costa Rica for a week. It was about 10 of us girls deep. Hot springs me, yes. Mud bath me, yes. Put me in some natural waters and grill me some red snapper fish. Okay. I was ready. I was ready to go because wifey, mommy, and career duties needed a break. Our kids were wearing me out. Husband too. It was hashtag free me from responsibility, hashtag free me, I'm ready to go. And as the date, came closer to go, I was waking up in the morning, hashtag free me, hashtag free me. Shoot, I was on some Moses let my people go type energy, day and night until the morning I had to be at the airport. I was ready for a break. Cause baby, one thing I'm not is a woman of the 1930s. Okay, this queen will not be sitting up in the house all day finding solace, knitting a quilt and humming. Absolutely not. I demand you put me on an island stat. Sun rays and crisp blue waters me on a beach float right now. Because you're not about to have me confined to a rocking chair watching reruns of Andy Griffith for leisure. Shout out to Andy Griffin though. I used to love his other show, Matlock. Oh, and the show Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. Murder, she wrote. Murder, she wrote. Murder, she wrote. I met this girl. Her name was Maxine. Her pictures was a bunch of throws. Something, something, something. Murder, she wrote. Y'all, let me stop singing that song. Ciao. Social media recently exposed the actual lyrics of that song. I said, Lord, they done had us singing some crazy and wild stuff. Mercy, Lord, mercy. I mean, what did that song come out like in the late 90s, early 2000s? If you know, you know. And shout out to my Jamaican listeners. Now, y'all go do better because that song is straight trash. Got the world singing and whining and rotating and thrusting our hips to some mess. Some mess, y'all. Anyway, everyone wanted this one girl to come because she was a lot of fun and her energy was a vibe. She was one of those people that gets along with everyone. So she brings neutrality to the room. So she's one of those folks that, you know, you can just bring with you anywhere. And we always need a neutral, level-headed person because some of y'all are real opinionated and not too many of us opinionated folks can be in the same villa and rooms for so long. At some point, somebody in their loud mouths got to go. And you know, it's not me because baby, I ain't going nowhere. Get somebody else to do it. Have them leave. Okay. I'm saying. When it came time to make her deposit with the trip organizer, she was like, look, I'm making this deposit in good faith. I know it's not refundable, but I'm going to take a chance and hopefully I can go once my husband learns my deposit is non-refundable and he knows I deserve a break. But I already know my husband is going to say no, that I can't go. And if he finds out I made a deposit to go, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he throws my clothes out of the window. We were like, wait, what? That's crazy. That sounds a little crazy. He wouldn't do that. Well, her husband did not want her to go anywhere. He was the fun police. Okay. Woo, woo, woo. Always want to lock her up. Nobody was a bad influence on her but him. Keeping our homegirl in prison. Free her. Free her. Free her. Our group was actually a good influence. Okay. We were very good, very professional, very polite. We had manners. We were respectable women. Matter of fact, all of us were married with one of the girls in the group being engaged. So we needed a little escape from our husbands and kids that be driving us up the wall so we could come back rejuvenated and refreshed and hit the ground running back on our wifely, motherly, and career woman duties. Well, that's the story we were telling the hubbies. But we know we was going to have a good time, okay? And our hubbies knew it too. And her husband did too. And he didn't take too kindly of that. He didn't like that idea of us having fun. We were like, girl, tell him you're rewarding yourself for good behavior as a wife and a mom. And she was like, what the heck does that mean? And we were like, it means exactly what we said. Because child, some of these men and test your patience kids will work your last nerves. Am I right or am I right? Her husband was just mean. But the thing is, she knew her husband was going to say no. But it was okay for his underdeveloped muscular self to go hang out with his guy friends all the time and leave her at home with the kids while he went to trips to Vegas, Miami, San Juan, Puerto Rico with all his friends that weren't even married. Sir, we know what you're doing. You is not slick. She was right about her husband, although she made her deposit to go on the trip in good faith. When this no-neck man found out she had made the deposit, he was like, I already told you no. He was like, I already told you no, you can't go on trips, and said, here's a preview if you leave me here with 2 kids. Why he take this girl's clothes and throw them outside with the sprinklers on? Oh my goodness. That was one heck of a day. You see, that's when you got to treat them like that woman did, Al Green. Girl, go make you a hot pot of grits and you know the rest. Just don't go for the finale. Because that did not end too well for sis after giving that man 3rd-degree burns. She took it upon herself to forever be pushing up daisies. And that is not a good thing. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, stay off Google because you don't need any ideas. At least not this one. But love and happiness, queens. Love and happiness. But as you see, she already knew how her hot mess husband was going to act. So the organizer ended up giving her her money back, even though, you know, there wasn't supposed to be any refunds. but we all felt bad for her. We was just like, give her her money back. We FaceTimed her on WhatsApp every day we were in Costa Rica so she could feel like she was there with us. And when we were in the hot tub with our pina coladas, we was like, girl, get your bikini on and get in your tub at home and join us. And then we even had food delivered to our house from a Caribbean seafood restaurant one night near her house. And we made sure to order a dish just for her and not for her where's my neck husband. When we were at restaurants for dinner, she was right there with us on the phone at the table with her food, eating and carrying on right along with us as if she was there. When we were at the nightclub, we was like, go in your guest bedroom and flicker your lights and dance with us, and did. We tried to make it fun for her, and we did. And it was still sad she couldn't go because she did deserve to go. She's a really good person. Anyway, that husband of hers was abusive. I knew he was trifling when she told us he threw her clothes out the window with the sprinklers on. I'll just say 2 years later, some of our mutual friends from the group at the time threw her one heck of a divorce party back in 2019. And baby, from the pictures I seen floating around on Instagram from her divorce party, child. You would have thought she had been freed from doing a bid in prison, because that party was partying. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't there. I wanted no parts because I was like, dang, let me find out. The party might actually make you want to get a divorce. Okay, because that's how I was seeming in the videos. I was like, everybody look like they want to get a divorce. But I ain't go because I'm classy based. I do have morals and standards. Someone has to set the bar, okay? And I set the bar real high, extra, extra high. And y'all ain't fitting to get me caught up in these streets. All right, let's dive back into this topic a little deeper about you already knowing the answer from a few more angles. If you're hesitating to make a decision to leave your man, if they don't start spending more time with you, or if they don't work on their emotional intelligence or work on their healing process of past traumas through therapy, or settle down with you and be committed to you, then you're pretty much not willing to chance the outcome. So you're most likely not going to make the decision because you'll continue to hesitate and sit on it and remain and be unhappy. You know if your person is a resistant person or if they are stubborn or just plain selfish. So you'd rather live with that than deal with the outcome, which could be a breakup, an argument, or a greater distance between the both of you. Ultimately, you know you have no business being with that person, but you're not ready to live with what comes in making that decision. This is the same decision to start a business. You hesitate to start a business because you are afraid of whether the business will be successful or not. But if you know you have a good product and the demand exists for your product, or you can create that demand to turn a profit on your product, why not? Why the heck not? It's because you're scared. You're scared of failure. But the funny thing is, you're scared of something you already are. You're a failure now because you're not even trying. Let that sink in. You are a failure right now because you're not even trying. You're not even trying to start that business. You're thinking about it. You haven't done it though. It's weighed on you. And because you're not doing anything about it, you're already a failure. So you are scared of something that you already are right now. That is so deep. Every business owner and every entrepreneur have something in common, and that's the starting point. You have to start. Will everything be peaches and cream? Absolutely not. One of the definitions of business is the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. So again, when you hear the word business, think of the word practice and commerce, right? So the key word here is practice, which is the actual application or use of an idea, a belief, or a method, like a meaning in business. You are practicing your ideas. You are practicing your gifts and talents daily and putting a price tag on them and putting them in the marketplace to sell for someone to purchase, a consumer. There's a demand somewhere, right? The word perfection is not included at all in the definition of business. It's the word practice. because business is a practice. Yet you continue to hesitate on starting your business when you already have the answer already in that decision. Like the answer is to practice it. Only practice makes perfection. So I'm sure you guys have heard that practice makes perfect. That's the same thing in business. Business means you're practicing something and you're practicing it in the world of commerce. And with practice comes perfection. But if you're not even practicing it, which is the answer to your decision is to practice it, then more than likely you are operating in fear. You're operating to just even do what you need to do. And I think I have some reasons to why you are operating in fear, and we'll get into that next. We have to stop being afraid of what others may think when it comes to making decisions. Others are always going to think. They're going to pass judgment, they're going to praise, and they're going to ridicule. It is human nature. It's going to happen. Since this is a given in life. Like we know that this is going to happen. It happens all the time. We need to actually give these people something to think about. We need to give them something to pass judgment about. We need to give them something to praise. We need to give them something to ridicule. It is a given. We cannot get through life without people's judgment, without people having something to say. I mean, why do you think social media exists? Because people have an opinion about something. You know, that's why Twitter, or what do we call it, X now? I mean, think about it. Everyone is making comments on Facebook posts, Instagram posts, because people have opinions. So no matter what you do, there's going to be someone's opinion associated with your decision. So once you accept that, once you get that in your mind that this is a given, like regardless of what I'm going to do in life, someone's going to say something, whether I do something or don't do anything at all, they're going to say something about whether I do it or I don't. So you might as well do it and stop worrying about what other people think. Worry about yourself. I do want to give you an uncommon take in decision making because there's always an uncommon take. There's always the yin to the yang, yes to no, no to yes, up and down and up. Inside and outside. You get my point? There has to be a posing point. My uncommon take is sometimes doing nothing is the most productive decision you can make. Again, sometimes doing nothing is the most productive decision you can make. But why? Let me pose a simple scenario to the reason why. Let's say you just got on an elevator and it's taking forever for the doors to close. What do most people do in this type of situation? They impulsively hit the close door button on the elevator. Hey, you've got somewhere to get, right? You have somewhere to be. What if it doesn't work? Like after the first time you press it, then you press it again, and then you start pressing it relentlessly. You're pressing this elevator button, hoping for the doors to close, right? This is a relentless urge to act, to make a decision to keep pressing and pressing that closed door button so the doors will close so no one else can squeeze themselves onto the elevator and you can make it to your floor. This is dumb. After you realize that the button isn't working, the smart move would be to do nothing and to allow the door to take care of itself. And doing nothing, many probably argue that you're doing something, right? You are letting something take care of itself. But most likely the elevator button is resetting and trying to prevent itself from jamming. Doing nothing is only the best decision to make when you truly don't have the answer. Doing nothing, at times, it does prevent you from making hasty decisions. It gives you the chance to process information and explore your options and also figure out the best possible solutions and consult with people for help and guidance. Doing nothing is when you don't have the answer. But if you have the answers to the decisions you need to make and you don't make moves on them, then you are a sitting duck. You forfeited your power to be in control of your situation. You're giving that power to other people to make the decision for you, and opportunities meant for you to elevate you are literally falling by the wayside because of your indecision. You will be even more unhappy in your relationships if you don't make the decisions and your relationships. And even when you have the answers, you need to make those decisions. Don't be a sitting duck. Do something. Follow through on making decisions. Just like the girl I was telling you about in the story earlier, she knew about her potted meat neck husband. Yes, potted meat. Shout out to my mama for that one. My mom was telling me a crazy story recently, and she was like, yeah, something. And they had potted meat. I was like, what? What is potted meat? But anyway, all her husband's behaviors were in her face from the beginning about him not allowing her to go and do anything. But he was the exception to the rule, and he hung out with his friends and disappeared and went on trips when he wanted. But as soon as my friend wanted to go on a girls' trip, he threw her clothes out the window and turned on the sprinklers. She was scared of something she already knew about him, but took a chance when she made her deposit. Sometimes you have to make those decisions, the right ones, like she did, because you will be even more unhappy in your relationships when you don't make those decisions, things that you already know the answers and have the answers to that you need to do. You know that you need to confront, or not just confront, but give an ultimatum, make some changes in your relationship, but you are again scared of those consequences. But you need to follow through on those decisions because that is what's best for you. You need to do it. You need to go the distance. I want to leave you with this. It isn't always about knowing the right answer. It's about trusting yourself to choose. And when you trust yourself to choose, that means that you are going to move. You're going to have some action. You're not going to have inaction. You're going to make a decision. You're going to follow through. And when you follow through on your decisions, this map just opens up for you to be able to continue to navigate through. It's again, like back at that starting point where we talked about starting a business and following through on your goals and dreams and executing business ideas and turning them into commerce, right? There's a starting point. The same thing when you make a decision, even if you don't have the right answer to the decision, you are trusting yourself to make a decision, and that you trust yourself that your decision is of quality, that it makes sense, that you're doing the right thing. And as you navigate down that road, things will just start making more sense. More doors will open, more opportunities will be given to you. You'll be able to execute and operate at the next level because you are making your way down that road in decision making. Thanks for listening to the Ever Airwaves Think podcast. If today's episode made you elevate, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, keep questioning until you have those answers. I'm out.